like, for example, I know a lot of women will think that Congolese men or French men in general are a lot more romantic. Lucy, when you're ready.
Okay, I have to see me nice. Okay, fine. I just want to avoid being very close to the camera. Okay, great. I'm gonna start now. Hi everyone, welcome to Deep Thoughts with Lucy. Guys, today I'm not alone. I'm with the beautiful Palisa and I'm also with my friend Jay. So guys, I just wanna welcome you. Welcome Palisa, welcome Jay.
Hi Lucy, thank you so much for having me.
Hi Lucy.
Hi.
Nice
So guys, as
today
you know,
to chat to you and Palisa.
yes, man, like the family is like growing and growing. We're expanding.
Right?
100%.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna give a bit of an intro, right? Guys, as you know, this talk is all about, African psychology. Us as African people, I mean, we have been through a lot and we still go through a lot. And because of, how we're raised, it has a lot to do with, our culture and all that. Not to say that back in the days, our parents didn't do their best. It's just that, like, times are changing. We are on a new era now, and we are so exposed to a lot of things. I mean, we know depression these days. We know dating. We've already talked about this, Palisa, that, back in the days, people were never dating. It was just about, that's your man and you get married and life goes on. But now we are kind of like figuring out a lot of stuff on our own, And I believe from how we're like raised and all that, there are certain things that, we can still continue with, but there are certain things that we need to cut off because they are not working for us, and there are things that, we still need to hold on to and we still need to improve. And also somehow we're also losing ourselves at the same time, we are losing who we are and all that. So, but today we are more focused on like, raising a boy child, black child, as you know, like, I think most of the parents back in the day, they didn't really have to do a lot of talking with the boys and all that. Only us as women, we're the one, hey, don't do this, don't sleep around. Exactly, But I think with you guys, Jay, did they even sit down with you and talk to you or discuss with you about life, except for making money, but life in general? Do you have that talk?
No, we don't always talk about just making money. It's a broader conversation. When you have like an interaction with a young king, I would say a young African king. It's a broader conversation. So obviously money is there because money is like currency. That's what you use to store your value and move your value around. But we go deeper, in terms of behavior that will bring forth, money, prosperity, success, health, and all that. So it's got to be a broad conversation, in my opinion.
No, that's so true. So what do you think, Palisa?
I think that men, our fathers, or young men now that are fathers, need to touch the soft side of grooming a young boy to being a man. I think that men are made to feel like they're weak, or rather, let me say boys, sorry. Boys are made to feel like they're weak when they're in touch with the emotional side. And unfortunately, those boys are going to grow up to be boyfriends and husbands. And women are very soft people that are very in touch with their emotions. So sometimes it will help where an African brother is sensitive, but I feel like they still lack that sensitivity, the majority that is, and it's all because in the upbringing, I feel like no one tells them it's okay to to be a nice person. Because even the compliments are not straight off compliments where you're like, oh wow, that is so sweet. We always find that, like, for example, I know a lot of women will think that Congolese men or French men in general are a lot more romantic. I don't know if we're deceived by the language being very gentle, or if indeed they really are very polite and gentle as compared to our Zulu brothers. You understand?
Yeah.
So I think
Sorry, yeah.
if somebody can just say, let's teach them how to be fragile and soft. That's the main thing, because a boy child is a child. Keyword child. Yeah.
No. That's so true. Yeah.
I
No,
think
actually, that's so true.
you're actually hitting the nail on the head. I think to add on to what you said, so so children like boys are soft. That's true, but I think there is a way we can teach them in actually not being soft, but being more emotionally in touch. So that comes down to, if I want to compare what they teach at school, which would elevate your IQ, but now we're talking about EQ, emotional intelligence, emotional quotient. So now this is where we need to focus, because in life, you can have somebody who's got all the best qualifications, who's like the best or was the best at school, but in real life they're doing poorly because they do not have the people skills, the emotional intelligence to handle themselves in a particular environment, to be so flexible to move through environments, because that's what it's about. Out there, you encounter different people, so you need that flexibility. There are times when you need to be firm, others where you need to be softer and more considerate. So if this can be, put down into behavioral activities for the kid, let's say from even 3 years old, going upwards into being an adolescent, that would be perfect, because those are the times when you have a young African king that is like a sponge. They learn so much during that time. So this is actually the time to anchor those values. So, bottom line is, you need to research what values you want to, pass to your kid, your boy, and then make sure that all the activities that you have with them, things that you show them, you teach them, are aligned with these values. That's how they're going to understand that it's not just a once-off thing, but it's a behavior that they need to build, so that they feel confident going into the future as to, perform well in society with different people, respecting women, and elders, things like that. Those are values that you actually need to lay down and, pass to your kids, especially with boys. Boys have got a lot of energy, so you need to be able to channel that energy towards something positive and constructive. I think that's how you get boys to actually listen and be interested in what you want to teach them.
No, that's so true, actually. That's so true, Jay, because I mean, looking at, young men these days, the boys these days, what we see in South Africa, we're seeing a lot of like angry mob. It's like an angry mob. These people are they're filled with so much anger that you don't know where it's really coming from. And the other sad part is that they can't even like open up about their issues, but you can see through, especially when they're dating, you see someone finding so much pleasure on, abusing a girlfriend and all that. Like, I think it's because of their upbringing. Like, they're seeing that from home. They see mom and dad fighting all the time. They feel like, okay, it is what it is. This is how you show a woman that you love her and you really want her to change, But looking at it, that's not how it's supposed to be, because more often we're busy, like, saying, men are trash, men are trash. but we haven't really gotten to a point of, sitting down with, the rest of the guys, what is really happening. Not to say that we're trying to make an excuse for those people doing all those crazy stuff, but it started somewhere. And I think it's high time us as Africans, we stop pointing fingers and we need to start looking at how everything started and how do we move on from there. Because to be honest, just shouting at each other that you're such a, you're a pig, you're what, it's not going to help. We have serious issues. And that's why today we're like, you know what, let's talk about these issues. Where did it all started? And what do you think we should do for us to move forward? We need a solution now. It's high time we stop, blaming each other and all that. We need a serious solution.
Lucy, when you say we need to identify where the cause of the problem, I think, especially in our country, it is so sad that the actual problem is that we, as the Black race, come from broken homes, and in most cases, those homes are broken because of poverty, not because the father. I don't really believe that a father would actually choose to be absent in their children's lives. I feel like maybe like for example, we know that in our homelands we'll have fathers that leave and go to and come to Gauteng for better opportunities.
Yes.
And when they decide, you find he's not coming here because already there's a job waiting for him. He's coming here to come and find the job. 3 months down the line, 4 months down the line, I'm still not finding a job. It's hard to go back home as a man and say, oh, well, I tried, nothing came up. You still want to push. But as time goes, I think that embarrassment that it's now 3 years later, and I'm still trying, but things are just not coming together. The day that father does go home, there's nothing happy about the situation that he's coming back with. It's just stress and frustration and other questions that he does not want to answer, which will lead to tension in the home. When you are tense and not happy, it's not easy for you to want to make time to give love and affection for your child, boy or girl. The situation and your emotional, mentality does not allow you to exude that love. So what do? You are angry. You're always lashing out. You're always smacking the kids. I don't think a person chooses to be the mean parent or that kind of parent. But unfortunately, our Black brothers and uncles and fathers are under so much pressure and stress that they cannot emotionally. It's hard. Emotionally, it's hard for them to express that kind of love. It's hard for you to bring yourself into that comfort where you just tell yourself that, okay, it's not about me, it's about my kids right now. How is it about your kids when you emotionally you're not okay? You need to fix you first before you can try and build a better person than you. You need to fix you. So if we can show more love, appreciation, and understanding to our Black fathers and brothers, then we will build the kind of men we need as Black women as well. The kind of men that our daughters are going to need. It's just sad.
Yes, you're dropping some gems there.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying, Palisa, is, Jay, you have anything to say?
Yeah, I really like what she's saying because, I was listening to everything we're talking about and thinking behind, and I realized that bottom line, it comes to the self. I think once you realize that, what, it's actually okay for me to take responsibility for myself, which means whatever I decide that I want to pursue and make happen, whether I don't make it happen on the spot within a month or so, it's fine because that's how it is. It's not, we live in a society of overnight success. So we believe that, yeah, tomorrow I'll start a Facebook channel, and then the next day I put a viral video, and then I'm a celebrity. The millions are in my bank account. I take care of my family. I don't think it's like that. It's a bit more complex than, what we actually envision. So once you start realizing that it's not going to be the easiest thing out there, it could be, but bottom line is there is some effort that needs to be put in. You realize that you can actually relieve yourself of that pressure to do instant miracles. Then you have a clearer mind, be able to put a plan down and work it out. Once you work it out, you can now take a bit of a chill pill and see some progress. That's what's going to give you the confidence to take more responsibility for yourself and for your action. And with that, if your issue was a material thing, you start seeing material gain, then you can focus more on your mental well-being, because that's what you're going to, for me, that's the most important thing you're going to pass to your kids, so that you can have a future generation of mentally stable people, emotionally, open, willing to be vulnerable when needed and stuff. So bottom line is you need to be able to assess what you're going through, work it out within yourself so that you come to a better conclusion or better terms with yourself. And that is going to help you to, have proper ideas, have a clear mind, a sound mind that you can, use to develop ideas that are going to help you achieve what you need to achieve. Not to say that there's not going to be any pressure when you have kids or you have a wife at home that's, sort of depending on you. But, you need to be able to have a clear mind and like self-accountability, sort of respect, be able to have that responsibility of the self, so that, from there you are in a better position to effect positive change in your life. And once you have positive change in your life, it affects everyone around you. I think that's like where we need to start with the self, not to say that that's selfish, but that's, caring for the self, because that from the self springs out, life that everybody can benefit from. That's the spirit of community that we need to actually build in the African space. We are different. We were raised, as they say, it takes a village to raise a kid. So if you can have that sense of community at home, even if you guys are two, it opens up, your world in terms of where you can find your advice, where you can find tips to like incorporate into your practices.
True.
Wow.
True.
You said it all. Like, I don't even know what to add on that. Honestly, I don't know what, but what do you think, like, most, young men are really struggling with now? I mean, if you have any sort of like idea, what do you think most young men are really struggling? What is the whole anger coming from? Like, what's really happening? What are the struggles that young men, because we first need to look at what people are really, really struggling with now. Yeah, you've already talked about back in the days what people were struggling with, which is important. We need to start there at the root. Now we need to look at what are we really battling with now? What can we really change from what is happening now? Because already we're on the journey. The only thing that we can do, maybe we can sit down as brothers and sisters and be like, I think you need to change your ways. I think, you need to start communicating and all that. But there's still a future generation, those small ones, those ones, like, they haven't really gone through anything, but we just need to start, them when they're still young. What is it that we can really change? What is it that we can still continue with as a Black community, as like Africans? What is it that is still okay that a boy was once taught back in the days, and we still look at it and be like, you know what, I think this is the best. This is a great tool that you can still use even, in the future. But this, we can't continue like this. Is the end of it. So what is it that you think should be changed? What do you think?
As a man, I think it comes down to identity. I feel like there's an identity crisis going around where you've got guys who are now, adolescents or even young men who are now out there trying to be, the rappers or, I don't know, the celebs, if you can just look at where you are, where you've been from, and actually study your history, you could actually realize that, you don't necessarily need to be like following the current events, the current fashion as to being a rapper, I'm not dissing anyone, but having the pants sagging here so that you are cool and stuff. You need to really look deep and understand that, you know what, as an African, you are a leader, that's a given. Like when we talk in terms of, human, the like cradle of humankind and everything, you were the number one here. That is
So,
undisputed.
sir, can
Even
I
the
stop you,
scholars,
Jay,
the
just to ask
European
one
scholars
thing so
tell us.
that you continue? Do you think we are
Yeah.
trying too much to fit in? That is something that is like making us like go through what we're going through. Do you think we're really trying to fit in too much?
I think so, because currently, if you ask young people about their culture, they will tell you about, hip hop. They'll tell you about maybe some things that they've seen on Instagram or something that, we've learned through the TV. It's not like it's a negative thing, but we should understand that these are sort of taken as entertainment and it shouldn't be real life. Real life is about building oneself from the inside.
Oh, that's so true.
Because remember that you are filled with the spirit of the Father. You are filled with a spirit, the Holy Spirit. So it's a spirit of progress and of knowing who you are. It's not a spirit of entertainment. It's a serious thing. You can be entertained, it is fine, but deep down you have to know that at the core you have a spirit, a greater spirit. You need to aspire to become your
You need to know who you are.
Yes.
Exactly. And it's not through following the fashion that you're gonna be the best, because you're basically following a trend which can end and the new one can start. But once you maintain your originality, knowing that you're an African, it doesn't mean that you're a bushman or whatever. Some will live in the bush, but it's more like you're an African, you're grounded, you're one with nature. So you have that intuition that can guide you. Once you get in touch and you realize that intuition is there to guide you, you would not be so distracted in when you make your decisions. Because I can guarantee you nowadays, most of our decisions are influenced by media, whatever we see. Like, let me talk about what's happening now with the pandemic. A lot of our decisions and forward thinking is based on what happened because we are in a pandemic era. So once you center yourself and look deep into what you would like to achieve, where you don't want to be and where you want to be, you find it easy to find some identity in yourself and stick to what you know and be open to learn more, but be firm in yourself that you are not swayed by every opinion. You have a deep understanding of who you are that you want to lose, and you can use that to move forward.
Okay, before you can even go, I just want to ask this very quick. Like, okay, I know you're talking more about, young boys finding themselves, because that might also be one of the reasons why people are so depressed now, because they don't know, where they're going, their path. They don't know if they're at the right place. They're just trying to touch here and there. And sometimes also, the music videos has so much influence on the young ones. They feel like this is how they should be living. And also, I think somehow it also influence young, men, like to kind of like disrespect young women, because we in an era where young women don't respect, women at all. And it's usually in the Black culture because of the influence of the music. But let's talk about dating wise, because this is a serious issue. As we were taught, you need to take care of a man, you need to be a good girlfriend, you need to do this and that. Those are the things that we need to be talking about now, because I see young men are still struggling, and that's where also the whole gender-based thing also comes from, that somehow, because someone doesn't know maybe how to, he can't deal with his own emotions, and also he doesn't even know how to take care of someone else's, heart and all that. So what kind of advice would you really give a young man, and how to, when it comes to dating and, all that? Because I feel like it's very important. There's other reason why we need to come talk here, because we see too much frustration. You just see someone just decide to slap someone, stab someone. We see it for no reason, but we don't know where is it coming from. Like, do you understand the value of the other person, or you just take this other person as, you're nothing?
True, Lucy.
Yeah, I would like to hear from the ladies side, of the coin. Yeah.
Palisa, you got this.
Hence, I was also saying that I think it's important to also to teach men that it's okay to be in touch with your inner self, your emotional intelligence, because you're going to grow up and you're going to deal with women. Number one, let's start it here. When a young boy falls and he wants to cry, what do they say? No, a man doesn't cry. Don't cry.
Talisa, are you even saying that? Just to remember what is happening with this guy, Katleho Mabo, right? I saw something it wasn't funny, but they're making fun of him that he was wearing a gown. They're like, you know what? The reason why you confess is because you're even wearing a gown. Real men don't wear guns. You need to be wearing a leather jacket and sharp nose straight from bed. So that's why you're so weak.
You see what
you see here, I feel like we need to separate the entertainment and the seriousness of things, because that's entertaining. If you want to take it as serious, you'll be straight. Because it's just for fun.
But
guys are making
I think it's for fun. But I think somehow that's where most men, even if they want to open up, right? You're told that you're weak. I'm just saying it's more like on the weak side. That, you know what, you're so weak. You can't be like talking like this. You're a man up. You understand? It's more like they're telling him that he's weak. A man is supposed to be like this. He can't cry because they're telling him the reason why you're crying because you're wearing those pants. I'm just saying, but I mean, you are human at the end of the day.
And what
it's saying the small things.
That is what Lucy is saying is so right. It's the same thing that I'm saying, that the more we keep convincing men that men are meant to be strong people emotionally, men are not supposed to cry, that is the more we are just building angry men. Because when you don't bring out your emotions, when you don't let them pour out, they're just going to pile up inside, and one way or another you're going to need to release all that tension that has built up. And how are you going to do it? You're going to do it in a manly way. What's a manly way? That's physical. And
yes, that's so true, Palisa. That's so true.
When I'm not okay, I can sit down with Jay and I can tell him, my brother, it's bad, and be my shoulder to cry on. Because now I think, I wouldn't know, but I think men don't open up to each other because you're afraid they might think you're weak. So if we can there's nothing weak about crying. Instead, I think somebody that cries over the right reasons is someone that's strong. You're showing how human you are. And it's okay to break down, because after that meltdown, you're going to build yourself up again. We're going to give you words of encouragement.
And that's the whole reason for crying. You cry so that you get up again and, think straight. Because if you like bottling things like more and more, I mean, you're just going to be more confused and more frustrated and more angry because you don't know your way forward. You didn't clear your mind.
And you know what I think would be a very nice initiative that if men could do? You know how annually they always do the Take a Girl Child to Work initiative, where it's all about the empowerment of a woman, that in our generation, you're not supposed to look forward to, I'm going to grow up, be married, and be a mother. No, the world is your oyster. If you can think it, you can achieve it. Let's do something like a gentleman's club for boys, for little boys, where annually they also come together in men that are prominent, men that are trying, sit down and they talk to them about being a man, because there's a lot of good men in our country, in Africa in general. You know, if somebody is an annual gentleman's club, we are going to raise the kings these children are meant to be. I'm telling you.
No, that's so true. Because I think that thing of saying a man needs to be strong, it was, yeah, Jay?
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, I'm just going to make it quick. I was saying, I think that whole thing of saying a man needs to be strong, they were looking at, you know, back in the days, because men were meant to be fathers, husbands, you know, and women were supposed to be taking care of the kids and the whole household, you understand? So obviously, if you can't be strong, I mean, you have a woman who's not working, a woman who's, you know, looking after your kids. So if you're going to be crying, I don't have a job, you're not hustling hard, who has to do it for you? You understand? But now things are changing, you know, we can't always say a man needs to be strong or whatsoever. Things are changing. Is it still working for us that a man needs to be so strong? I'm not saying y'all have to cry every second, but I'm just saying, like, is it really still necessary? Is it really working for us? Because men now are exposed to a whole lot of, there's like dads, there's this and that. And back in the days, those men, I don't think they even had debts, to be honest. Maybe for the only debt you had is for jet account, but the rest of the stuff.
Yes, you know, so you're right, Lucy. You're right. It's not working anymore. No.
It's not working anymore.
You see,
working anymore.
There's one thing that I was thinking of, you know, just to add on to what Palisa was saying about, you know, when you should have, for example, a gentleman's club for, you know, adolescents or young kids even. You know, so I think what's happening at the moment is, you know, we live in a world that's so busy. Most people feel like they do not have the time to spend the required amount of time and give the required amount of attention to the. So, you know, you've got people working many jobs to try and make ends meet for the family and all. But we shouldn't discard the fact that it's the most important to teach your kids at home, because it's your responsibility to teach your kids, not the school's responsibility, not the government program's responsibility, but yours. So once you start there, you realize that actually, before I let my kids out so that they learn values of the world out there, let me try and teach you some values that I believe are good from the home. And stuff like, for example, you can teach kids how to, I would say, organize debates with their friends. You know, those are skills that are not taught in general, regular schools. But, you know, tell that if I have a young boy that knows how to organize a debate, meaning he knows how to organize a community event where everybody can come, contribute their ideas without feeling any type of, you know, bad way that they are, you know, to allow them to feel like they are heard and they can contribute to society. That in itself is a leadership skill that you're teaching your boy, to know that in the future, I do not have to compete with the other boys, but as a community, we can contribute, all add our 1 cent to make it a rand. And with a rand, you know, in terms of finance, we can invest that rand and, you know, after a bit of time, get out with 10 rand and do the same multiplication and scale up. So, you know, you start with these little basic things that don't seem like they mean a lot, but they're actually one of the most important things you can teach your kids, you know. Small things like that. I think little things can make a huge difference. But, you know, if you don't have that in you to think that, yeah, that's actually a skill that would benefit my kid in the future, you wouldn't have that. And in the future, when you have these kids out there organizing a gentleman's club, doesn't help them as much as it could if, you know, they were taught such a thing from the beginning. So it's so important to look at the basic set of values we want to have from the beginning. I think that's where it starts, because if you want to look at what we are seeing right now, you could say that yeah, the people are grown up now, so it's a little bit more tough to get in their heads and try and address the challenges and their ways of thinking. But it's still efficient to know that an open mind is better than the closed mind. So to have a growth mindset versus I know it all and there's nothing more I can learn mindset. That's what puts you in a position to know that actually I can be vulnerable and teachable, so that I can learn new skills and change what is not working in me, improve what is working. You have to come to that realization so that you could do something about your situation. Because most people, as you said, still believe that the way they are behaving is the way to go, and it's fine. Even if it's not productive, they'll still believe it's fine because culturally we know that that's what a man should do. But these stereotypes need to be ironed out with a really hot iron so that we have no peace.
True, man. Wow. I don't know if they have any of you, maybe Palisa, maybe you, if you have any last words, just to wrap this up, we just need maybe 30 seconds or whatsoever, just the final advice, if you have anything like that you'd want to give.
My advice would mainly go to women. I think we also need to play our role by appreciating and, giving gratitude where it's due, because most of these men are really trying, but I feel like they lack appreciation. And when you don't appreciate something often, then somebody will be demoralized to continue. So a lot of our brothers are trying. Let's also meet by appreciating what they are doing. And we have a long way to go, but we'll get there. We'll get there. As long as there's still people like us that are having conversations like this, we will become better people.
100%. I wanted to say, as long as I can hear women talking this way, I know that there is hope. Because it takes two to tango. You know the dance tango?
No, that's so true. I already even have something.
At the end of the day, you as a woman, you have to assert yourself as the queen that you are. I'm not talking about a slave queen, and I'm not putting any dirt on anyone, but I mean a real queen that you are as an African woman, the mother of the nation. Once you believe that you have that, you will respect yourself to a level where you cannot allow anyone to come and disrespect the queen. In the olden days, you disrespect the queen, your head is on the mat. They will just slaughter you. So have that confidence in yourself, not having confidence in things of the world, but look deep inside, understand that you are the mother of civilization. And once you tap into that energy, you will respect yourself more, and whatever you project is what you get in. Because not to say that women are doing something wrong or so, but we also have to understand that we are, like, whatever is around us is a reflection, even if it's not to 100%, but to an extent of our internal environment. So once you have that deep self-respect, knowing your values as the mother of civilization, you will do so much better, and everyone around you will do so much better. Then you have a world where actually, you realize that you are actually the queen, but, the men are just the straight people who make things happen. But the creative is actually the queen that brings it, which is what a lot of people seem to have downplayed. But the creative is what the women bring. And the straight arrow, doing things, straight, not even thinking so much, is the male energy. So you need to be able to have that balance of energies.
Yeah, that's so true, James.
Yeah. And also maybe just to remind everyone, this platform, it's not to point fingers, right? We are here admitting. We are here admitting. This is like a place where we just like admitting, that there's a lot that we still need to learn as African men, as African women, you know. We're admitting all our faults, we're admitting and all that.
Yeah.
We're just here to move forward, you know. It's not about you, this and
Cannot
that.
be
So
perfect.
exactly. We know we had to open this because we're struggling, you know, and so many times it's just pointing fingers. So it's high time we stop pointing fingers. I'm going to look at myself and my faults, and also I'm going to look at someone else's fault, and we have to like see how do we move forward from here, because we've been struggling and there seems to be no way forward, because I just had to look at it and be like, if we continue with the mentality of saying you, as Africans, we'll never ever get to move forward. We'll never find a way forward. So yeah, guys, I think we're gonna wrap up here. And I think that this is a wrap. Palisa, you can
Can I
tell
throw in
us.
one last little thing that I thought is a good thing to just add? You know, I think we live in a busy world, so one thing that could be really good and that will be a benefit to anyone is to, out of your one day, take a 10-minute break, sit somewhere quiet, and don't think about anything. Because remember, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, your mind is running. You need to think how you pay your next bill. You need to think how you put food on the table. You need to think of how you will be better than the next person. But if take that 10 minutes to just block every, and even your own thoughts, you sit, you analyze your own thoughts without judgment, without trying to fix anything. Just let them float in front of you. It will cut you off from the outside noise, and you will be able to listen to your inner voice, the spirit that is in you. You'll be able to listen to it. That's what a lot of people call intuition, but you'll be able to be way more in touch with it, and you will see that the advice you get from it is amazing. Things are going to flow in your direction without even understanding why. I think it's very important to take some quiet time and quiet down the outside influence, and really listen to the inner voice. It's there for a reason. It's there to guide.
Thank you.
Wow.
I'm that. Thank you, Jay. True.
Thank you so much, guys. So although from now you can stop the recording, Palisa, but I wanted to say something, right? Yeah. Like as we were busy talking, Jay, as we were busy talking, Palisa, I thought of something.